Howdy.
All right. Hey, how's it going, man?
Going well, going well. Should we give it a moment for people to jump in, or how's the chat looking?
Uh, let's just dive right in, and
All right.
more people will join as we go on. So,
Sounds good. Sounds good. Well, let me start off by let everybody know who I am. You can call me Triple FO. Stands for Felon Filming 50. Um, and this is my first ever YouTube video. I will be doing an interview with your boy here, CH. Uh, I did happen to watch the other debate that you did, and I noticed it was very one-sided. So I would like to do this again with you with a more neutral view on the aspect and see if we can actually have a little bit more constructivity out of this as opposed to it just being a complete nightmare. I don't know that you feel that same way about it, but let's go ahead and start
yeah,
with.
I'd have to agree. I think the people in the comments from the last debate kind of said the same thing that you're saying. So, I'd have to agree.
Yeah, I know a lot of us will probably agree with. I felt from watching it that it was more to drag your name through the mud, and it was very one-sided. You know, there was points where my girlfriend had even pointed out it was almost like bullying towards you. You made great factual background. Anything that you came back with was factual. You know, it had basis to it, and ultimately, it wasn't really heard. I don't know if you agree with me on that or not.
Well, I think by my viewers it was. By their viewers, they're just, as I like to call them, a bunch of thoughtless automatons. So they kind of just absorb they're kind of like the crowd that watches the two idiot kids bully the smart kid on the playground, and they were just eating it up, whether it had a factual basis to it or not. That was my
Yeah.
opinion.
So, for the interest of the debate that hopefully we can have, I will be remaining neutral, trying to keep my feelings out as moderator of the debate as much as possible. I feel that that's just how it should be done. And I hope that we can get a lot of people from the other side of the table to do at least open their eyes, maybe start asking themselves some questions on their own views, as well as our side of the table. We may have the same thing happen here. This is all basically so that we can get a better constructivity out of free thinking and free speech and open conversation, if you will.
That's right.
So, a little bit about yourself, if you don't mind me asking. I'll ask a few questions here. That way, that the viewers that aren't 100% familiar with you or know who you are, they can get a little background on who you are, what you do. So,
Okay.
first of all, how old are you?
I'm 23 years old.
23. All right. And were you born in Indiana?
Yeah, I was born in Dubois County, Indiana, the Jasper area.
Okay.
I know you're
What
probably not
made you
familiar with
decide?
it, but
No, I'm very unfamiliar with Indiana. I'm out here in
we did an
Colorado.
audit out there. Yeah, we did an audit out there. I'm sure a lot of the viewers will have seen it. The audit was the guy who looked like, I think it was Ben Stiller from Night at the Museum, except he was all drunk and whatnot, telling me that I was drunk. So yeah, it was a shit show. But that's where I came from, that little city there.
Okay, yeah, I definitely saw that one. And he did seem like he was a little intoxicated. He didn't really
Yeah,
know how to handle
there's
you,
no
did
doubt.
he?
There's no
He
doubt
didn't know
that
how
guy
to
had.
handle you, did he?
Yeah, I don't think he knew how to handle himself, to be quite honest.
No, no. Him and then what was it? The chief afterwards. That you.
That was the chief. That actually was the chief.
Okay. Which one was
Yeah,
the one afterwards that followed you? Knew where you were parked and whatnot.
that was also the chief. Oh,
Oh,
but
okay.
he that was a sheriff who said that he knew where I was parked, but it was the chief who admitted to following me later on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, which brings me to another point. Do you, and you don't have to answer this if you don't want to for logistic reasons, but do you have any civil rights? Are you following up on any of these as we speak?
Yeah,
Violations?
we're in the process of the lawyer getting ready to take legal action, but we haven't actually launched any right now. I actually just found a lawyer who would actually take cases like this. Indiana is kind of a, if you're not a criminal lawyer, you're a family lawyer. So you don't really, if you practice civil law, you generally don't go suing the government. You go after private individuals. So the good civil lawyers are few and far between here in Indiana, just as I'm sure they are elsewhere in the world.
Yeah, yeah. So nobody really wanted to touch that case, did they?
Not a lot of people want to touch any of the cases, man, but we've got one
Yeah,
that'll touch a few of them. So I'm not going to go into what those are, but and if we do
yeah.
end up
No,
taking it to court, we'll be able to follow up on it. But sometimes they choose to settle, and you've got to sign a non-disclosure agreement,
yeah.
so you can't
All right.
disclose any information about them.
So, what made you want to decide to be an auditor?
Well, as a lot of viewers know, I've got a lot of things that I want to say. I want to get my message out there, and I tried starting a podcast when I was about 20 years old, but yeah, the viewers were mostly local. They weren't really, and even then, it was like, who wants to listen to their friend talk when they could just get it right from the source? So
Yeah.
getting my voice out there it wasn't very easy. So, but I started watching James Freeman, and I thought to myself, well, wow, this guy has a very strong message, and he gets it out there in a very entertaining way. So I thought, maybe if there's a way to start getting my message out there, auditing would be the first step.
And I think that was a very wise decision. Was your podcast "How Money Talks" or something of that nature?
No, it was Hard Money with Craig. Is the name of it.
Hard Money with Craig. That's what it was.
Yeah, the episodes are
Um,
still out there on Spotify. You just got to remember I was 20 at the time, so it may sound a little bit, and maybe it
hey,
doesn't seem as professional as I am now.
this is my first time live, so we'll see. I feel you. Um, so who is your lead? Who is your most favorite? I have an idea in the auditing game right now.
Well, I would say James Freeman, but he doesn't say he's an auditor. So, past that, if we're going for the person that I derive the most entertainment from, I'd say Chili DeCastro, Delete Laws.
Really, really.
Yeah, I mean, I don't
All
agree
right.
with almost anything he says, but he's certainly entertaining.
Okay. All right. I can uh I can respect that. Who's your least favorite? And if you don't
Um,
want to,
well, I'm not sure that I have a least. I don't really put that much thought into it, but I just really hate
yeah,
guys that go out and um, well, I'm not going to say it. Everybody's got
yeah,
their own style, and I don't really hate anybody in the game. I just think that some people go around it in a really childish way, and I don't agree with some people like that. But that's
yeah.
everyone's
They're
got the right to do
prerogative.
their own thing, right? Yep.
Yep, that's right. And it's fun. I'm glad you mentioned that everybody has their own style. So, you know, I hope you don't mind. I'm gonna name drop some people, but that's just to describe their style. You've got like Granite Press. They do post office. Uh,
Yeah.
you've got Bay Area. He likes to do uh, basically police stations. He'll do. Lately, he's been into the what are they called? Probation offices. I like that.
Yeah.
And then you've got others that just kind of film government employees in their capacity from public accessible areas. What would you describe yourself as? And do you describe yourself as first off an auditor? And if so, what is your style?
Well, it's certainly in the name auditor, CHandTY audits, but I think there's a much larger goal to this channel than just auditing. But as far as style goes, I mean, I'll do it all. You know, I'll do post offices, I'll do police stations, I'll do probation offices. I'll do anything that I can. I will go and record everything that I possibly can. I don't really have a specialty. Um, but you know, I guess that's a good thing about this channel. You come to this channel, you're going to get everybody else's specialty in one. So
That is true. That is true. Have you ever thought about doing stand-up comedy?
no, I'm not that funny when it comes down to it.
I don't know. I think others would they would have to argue that fact with you.
Well, I'd certainly be flattered.
So let's get down to the nitty-gritty of what your beliefs are, and basically the ultimate goal here is later on in the show we would like to get somebody to come up and try and debate with Ty, or I'm sorry, CH, about his views. If you guys have seen the previous show, you'll have a basic idea of what we're shooting for. We just would like to keep it, I'm going to keep it a lot more neutral. Obviously, we all have our own views, but as far as the debate itself goes, it's going to be a lot more organized. And we do encourage anybody out there, please join in the chat. Let your voice be heard. If you really want your voice to be heard, give us a super chat. We'll put your name up there with your comment, just as you see there from who we got. Civisme Secret?
Yes.
Civisme Secret. Awesome, awesome. You guys make sure to
and tell them Felonfilming 50. Tell them how, because we don't actually have a person that we are going to debate. So tell them maybe a little bit about what's going to be
yeah.
From here on.
Yeah, I was going to get to that point. So basically, we don't have anybody lined up for this debate, which is, you know, open for the best person with the, let's say, let me reword this here. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to be looking at the chat. We're going to be seeing who wants to step up and debate CH here. The requirement for it is we do require you're going to put a donation in there, and that's the only reason that we're asking for that is that if you think you are that confident in how you feel, then we feel you should put your money where your mouth is. If you think you can come up here and debate with Craig, make solid points, then you are more than welcome. Start dropping messages in the chat, and we will try and get somebody up there. During the process until we have that ready to go, I've got a few more questions if you wouldn't mind, and then we would also like to let a few of the members that have joined into the chat come on live and just spit the game with you for a little bit, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, I see Smoke at the Smoking Auditor. Are we done with the interview section right now?
I have two questions I want to ask you. Do you want to hop them in right quick, or?
Well, let's just say this. So, you know, if anybody has questions, concerns, comments, or anything that they'd like to dispute with me, members will get a first choice on my channel. They'll always get first swing at anything. If they want to agree, disagree, they'll always have first swing. So, Felonfilming 50 has got some slots open up to members, channel members. We've got. He's also saying that basically. We're going to be prioritizing anybody who super chats. They will have first pick to come up and debate. And, you know, if people that do super chats don't want to debate, then they can, you know, pass the buck on and we can get somebody else in here to debate. And if nobody else wants to even come in to debate, if everybody is in agreement with me, then, you know, that's a step in the direction. Yeah, it's a step in the right direction. But we do have somebody lined up that's going to be available at around 5:30, I believe, to come up and talk. Regardless, so let's just continue on. You've got some questions for me, right, Felon?
This will be a good point for anybody that, just to give them a background, what is your view on the government?
They're thieves. They're absolute thieves. They're con artists, is what they are. They sell snake oil medicine. Um, they don't do anything good for anybody. There's an old saying that was dubbed by Irwin Schiff, I believe. It's uh, asking government to help you is like getting a blood transfusion from your left arm to your right arm and then spilling half the blood on the floor in the process, because they don't do anything good. They say they're going to help you, and eventually, at the end of the day, brass tacks, they've just stolen your money, and you could have gotten the service just as well, if not even better, without the government. So there's really nothing. There's nothing the government can do for anybody that helps them. That's my opinion on government.
And just so the viewers are aware, your idea of how it should be ran would be considered anarchy, correct?
Yeah, I mean that is the definitive term that describes what I would suggest to be the system in place. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people don't understand really what anarchy is, so they're kind of shocked when I say anarchy. But
Yeah, I was hoping that maybe we could be a little bit more informative, because I know myself as a viewer, when I first heard it, that word just gives you this. It almost gives you this, ooh, anarchy. Like, why do you feel? Well, basically, how do you interpret anarchism, and why do you feel it's gotten such a bad rap?
well, anarchism is it is the enemy of government. If government growing is the friend, anarchism is the sworn enemy, because obviously every politician and every politician would be out of a job, right? They'd have to go get real productive jobs where they actually produce things and sell them to other people, instead of just taking from people and forcing them to pay for them to do that. So, but really, I mean, the reason that it's gotten such a bad rep is because most people in the United States have gone to or are going to a public school, and public schools basically teach, well, look, if it wasn't for the government, we'd have all of these people going around killing everybody, stealing from everybody. These guys with guns would run around town all day, and they'd basically hunt people as a living.
Yeah.
We'd have, and it's like we don't have that now, right? It's like with government,
Yeah.
people don't see these guys. They've got marked cars and they run around hunting everybody. So, but that is what it is, right? You're never going to convince brainwashed people that they're brainwashed. I mean, I always like to admit I've been brainwashed. I went to a public school. Luckily, my dad
Yep.
gave me the medicine when I was growing up that cures or helps to cure that or treats brainwashing. But there are things that I think that have been embedded into my head that I don't even know about, right? Because a public school, they teach you so much in those 12 years. You don't know what is real and what's false at the end of the day. So it's a constant pursuit of knowledge is necessary to
Yes.
figure that out. But anarchy's gotten a bad rep just because the government simply is, it doesn't want people to think that it's okay. So they give them all these crazy ideas about anarchy, and well, if government wasn't around, it'd be like the Great Depression, 24/7, and people would be dying on the streets like deer, and
Yeah.
it just things would be awful, right?
Well, I like the point that you made in the last one when they said, "Well, everybody will just be out robbing everybody," and it's like, when have you ever seen a police officer prevent a robbery?
Yeah,
Is
never.
Never. They show up, they
I've
take
seen
the
them. I've
report.
seen them I've seen them prevent a lot of voluntary interactions, but I've never seen them prevent a
Yeah,
robbery.
I agree. I agree to that. Um, Now, mind you, I may agree with CH here on a lot of things, but I am keeping an open mind, and I will remain neutral as far as everything else goes. So, you want to go ahead and bring somebody on, or you did a lot of studies in economics and history, correct?
Well, I've done I've done my own studies, man. People like to delegitimize them because it wasn't in a university or whatnot, but I've done quite a few studies on my own time, like a lot. But So I'm pretty knowledgeable about some things. I'm not going to say that I'm like a professor, but I could certainly hold my own in a debate about American history. So, guys,
Yeah.
what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop the link to the StreamYard in the chat. If you are a member, make sure that you, well, really, I kind of know most of the members, but just in case, if you would put member in your name when you join the StreamYard, and you can come up and say a few words if you'd like to agree, if you'd like to make a point, if you'd like to disagree, and we can talk it out for a few minutes. Just go ahead, join the chat. Um, if you're not a member, we're going to be prioritizing members and super chats because we do have limited time. So we're going to drop the link. If we could get the moderators to continue to drop that link, that would be great. I don't know if that is possible. We do have the link shown though right there. So I see Big Man is in the chat. How's it going, Big Man Audits? So we've got the link in the chat. We're going to give people a few minutes to join the chat. Do you have any more questions for me, Filming 50?
Sure. I've got questions for days. I didn't want to go into too many of them just because for the debate's sake. But do you believe that it would ever be possible to abolish the police?
Well, I mean, look, some people are correct when they say that police might be semi-necessary. I see Ryan Youngblood is in the chat. We're dying to get him in. He was great in the last debate. But you know, abolishing the government doesn't necessarily mean abolishing police. There's plenty of room for people to choose who and how their communities are policed, maybe even their own property is policed. So I believe that abolishing government police is the best way to go, but abolishing all police, I think that there will always be a role for them. Their incentives will change when they're private. I am going to add Ryan to the stream. He's always got good points to make.
Yeah,
and I don't see any members in the stream, so we're gonna let Ryan join.
Yeah, he was
How's
in the last one, correct?
Yeah, he was.
Good afternoon, young men.
Oh yeah, there you go with that cool avatar. I remember now.
So if no one else wants to join, I'll play the role of Chili today.
I don't know. Do you have it in you, man?
I'm gonna try to embrace his essence.
Okay. So as Chili's feeling, your temporary view is that you want to make government smaller by making more.
No, Sage, no, that's not what. No, you have to explain to me how anarchy is not violence.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Let's see, Ryan. What are your views, if you don't mind me asking? Let's get a little background on you. What is your main support there, and what do you feel about the government?
Oh, I don't see any legitimacy to open prison, and that's what we're
open prison. Now. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good point. Anarchy. I'd say anarchy is not violence because nobody is actually getting forced into anything. At least on a large scale. I mean, bad things will happen. Obviously, always, right? Men are going to beat their wives and force them to do stuff. But on a large scale, things are going to be better. And men beat their wives and force them to do stuff today. The only difference is we won't be paying a large group of people to suckle off our teat and then come around and, lock us in a cage when we disobey their all ruling commands. So I don't really know how else to put it. Violence is what we've got right now. We've got a large group of people that run around the country hunting citizens, beating them up, shooting them, throwing them in handcuffs and caging them against their will like dogs, like animals. So I think that really it's more of proving that today's system is violence, and is anarchy comparable or better? And I believe it would be better.
And this is where we always get hung up. People think that anarchy means no order. Well, unfortunately, that's not the case. The case is anarchy is no rulers. So if you bring in systems that people pay for in every walk of life, anything that the government controls, we can provide a private solution. The problem is that people think, oh, well, just like the baby bells, took over the telephone lines and they had a monopoly. And then Clinton, the savior, came in and he disbanded them into, little baby bells. Well, with the cellular movement, you didn't see one monopoly. You saw a bunch of competition. Now they are starting to merge, and that's a whole nother conversation we can have. But that doesn't mean that government has to step in. We don't need to have someone enforce, and break apart something that someone built. I think that's, seriously unfair. So,
yeah, absolutely. And the whole, I think it's what you would call a straw man. I mean, I don't really pay attention to politics, but the whole monopoly fear is a straw man. If a company has a monopoly, it's because they, and it won't ever happen, because the nature is, as things get bigger, they become much harder to control and much harder to manage. So they inevitably become less efficient than a smaller company. But if a company does have a monopoly, it's because they're able to produce one good at a price that's cheaper than everybody, and then they pass those savings on to their clients, because nobody's going to buy the same good for a more expensive price. So, but if they try to raise the price, like say somebody starts selling, say like, I don't know how else to put it besides like, let's say UPS starts charging like $40 per package to ship and FedEx stays at $30. Nobody's going to pay for UPS. But if UPS goes out of business and FedEx has all the business, and then they raise their price to say $50 a package, someone else is going to come along and say, well, look, I'll ship it for $40. And, the market always evens itself out. Nobody can ever hold a monopoly, and nobody can raise the prices beyond what the market price is, because people will come in and take advantage of that opening in the market. So the only reasonable, or the only real definition of monopoly would be a government granted right to produce a product or service. And, they restrict the right to everyone else. It's like the post office. It's like, let's see.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I mean, I don't really know what else. I mean, there's tons of examples, like gas. Like you can't really produce and sell gas unless you've got all these licenses and whatnot, and they make it so expensive. Like weed in Colorado, I think you've got to pay $100,000 for a weed license in Colorado. So if they grant these monopolies to people, and they're monopolies in the sense of it's extremely hard to enter the market because the government restricts that entry. So
I always say that the lawyers would just love anarchy, because if we got to a civil society where we had to debate everything and have, all these conflicts, resolved without violence, we'd be hiring them like crazy to go in and argue and fight for us all the time. They should be pushing it. They should be loving it.
Yeah, that's the thing though, is the lawyers nowadays, they don't want to argue, do they? They just want to cut deals.
So let's get back. I'll push you a little bit. So how do you keep it when you don't have any police and you don't have any enforcement? How do you keep things from getting violent in a completely voluntary society?
Well, you take responsibility for yourself and you defend yourself. But ultimately, you can hire private security, like corporations. They will have beefed up private security. Nobody's going to come and steal from Walmart in an anarchist society, because they're going to have armed guards posted at their doors.
How do I protect my home? Away. How do I keep you from breaking into my house and taking my stuff?
Yeah, and when the government stops restricting our rights to own certain firearms, that really opens the market up to defend yourself a lot more efficiently.
What about when we travel? Same thing?
When you travel, I mean, I'm not really sure that it's much of a... I think the most intense problem when you travel is you're worrying about road pirates stealing your stuff.
Exactly.
So I think if we abolish government, I would assume that everyone would feel much safer when traveling. And then again, I mean, people worry about state-to-state gun laws. Some states don't respect other people's right to carry in their car. A lot of states just don't allow that right. So we'd feel a lot safer, because not a lot of people would be restricting our rights to defend ourselves.
How do we protect those that are not able to protect themselves?
Yeah, that one, I mean, I don't know. If someone can't protect themselves, they probably also can't travel. But, I mean, in the U.S., when we had a much smaller government, we also had the most charitable giving. So there'd probably be charity old folks homes or charity mental hospitals and whatnot that go on, because it's happened before in this country. And, you know, people would be taken care of, right? Grandma would stay with her son, you know, stuff like that. Your disabled kid would never leave your home, you know.
I think that's a good example. So let's imagine a family, you know, grandpa, grandma have, you know, 3 kids. Those 3 kids have kids. They move out. They have their own homes. You know, you have this old couple there by themselves, and people think, well, you know, there would just be no justice, that, you know, someone would come in and kill them and leave. Well, we still have private investigators. You know, we still have people in the neighborhood that would want to know what happened. They don't want their neighborhood being, you know, infiltrated with you know, crime and everything else. And they would take more pride when they actually own their own property and not rent it from the government. So I think it would change the whole dynamic.
Yeah, it certainly would.
So
private police would please much better than government police.
Well, and they're not going to protect 9 out of 10 homes in that, you know, in that neighborhood.
Yeah, absolutely. Ryan, you're muted right now.
Not to mention that you know, the way that our lifestyle should work is when we have children, the children are there to take care of the elderly. Wouldn't it make sense to the ones that couldn't protect themselves or fend for themselves would be kind of bunkered into your own homestead where you know protection is there for them? Would that not be a more realistic aspect of it? I know that once you go out the door, you're in charge of your own safety.
Tons of ways to provide for your own safety. Some people might elect to stay in their homes. Some people can't afford to stay in their homes. Some people might stay with their kids. Some people might be in a position where they can hire security, especially when the government hasn't been stealing their money and capital all their lives. So there's tons of different ways that we can go about this.
And it's not like we have 911 standing outside of our door protecting our elderly right now. There's people everywhere that can't protect themselves, that there's not a cop there as we speak right now to, you know, make sure that they're safe at all times. So it's kind of, you know, the same.
Guys, we're going to add Deanna to the stream. We've got somebody in the background wanting to say a few things, so we're going to see what she has to say real quick.
Sounds good.
Hey, Deanna, your mic is muted. Here. Oh, she left the stream. All right.
Oh.
Do you have any other counterpoints, Ryan?
Yeah. So let's go down that path a little further. We know that when an industry is looking for something, when people want something, industry does fill that void. So, you know, to say that government, you know, has to create these flat areas, as what's his name, Eric July says, you know, there's going to be someone that will create a flat area, you know, for us to drive on. You know, we don't need a government to build us a road with you know, pretty little yellow stripes down the middle.
Oh yeah,
no doubt, man, no doubt. Everyone is going to have roads. Brian, we've got you on the live, man, but when I unmute your mic, we've got a lot of background noise. Is there any way that we could? Well, I could turn your mic down myself. But Ryan, yeah, industry will always fill the void, and I mean, I agree with that completely.
And as far as cops and all that go, you know, if they were based on incentive instead of on, you know, threats, then we would have a whole different system. I can drop down if you guys want, if you got some other people coming up.
Thank you.
Let's see, Brian, how are you sounding, man? What's going on?
Me?
Hey, that's much better.
There we go.
Yeah, what's up, man?
Man, I'm sorry. This is the first time I've ever done this. I've got my son here. What's up, man? I follow you, man. I follow you. I love you. I think you're great. For real, I mean, for real, dude. You're awesome. Your mouth is like.
Thank you.
I said your mouth's like a 44 caliber, man. You're awesome.
Well, thank you guys. I appreciate that. Do you have anything that you want to talk about while you're up here?
Man, I got my son watching these videos, and the first one that really got me was when you walked in. I always get them confused. I know you're always in Indiana, but you walked in and that kind of chubby bailiff walked up to you and grabbed you, and man, the words that you threw out of your mouth I was so impressed I couldn't even begin it, dude. It was just I was standing up just cheering. I mean, I was just like, this guy is fucking awesome.
Well, thank you, man. Yeah, that video, I know what you're talking about. It was Court Cops Go Crazy. They were out of control, man. But
So wait,
how old is your son, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm 25 years old.
25. That's great, man. So you're a couple years older, but I'll be honest, a lot of people our age don't watch these videos. Most of the people that we get watching, like 98% are older than 26. So it's great to see that we've got some younger generation people watching as well.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, I wanted to ask you though, like when you first started this, like, did you have to deal with like getting arrested and?
Well, I got arrested just like 4 weeks ago. It was, and that was the first time I had been arrested while on the job. Are you asking before I even started auditing? Have I gotten arrested before?
Yeah, well, that and like at first when you first started auditing.
Yeah, well, before I got into auditing, I had been arrested before. Yeah, I'd gone to jail for weed dealing. Indiana is one of the only, I think it's one of the 2 states that doesn't have weed legalized in some capacity. So I got slammed pretty hard on that. But after starting, I didn't really get arrested too much. So 4 days ago, I was put in handcuffs, and the guy told me he was going to arrest me. But then my buddy Ty, who runs the channel with me, he managed to cool the kid down. I mean, look, some of these cops, they got big egos. You got to talk these little guys down sometimes. So he managed to talk him down. We got me out of handcuffs. The other time, though, I went to jail because a judge got his feelings hurt. And those are the worst people to piss off. You know, you piss off that judge, they deal out years. You know, and they sleep just fine at night after they do it.
So are you like, one of the guys that I really like is Long Island. I know that you guys were talking about everybody's got their own style, but I like Long Island. And are you kind of following in his footsteps where you follow up and sue everyone and do all the good stuff in the background?
I'll be honest, I don't even know. Gosh dang it. I haven't watched too many of Long Island Audits videos. I know he's like a big guy, but I think
came up quick.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really watch him too much because I don't know his views really. I think that he plays it kind of safe like when it comes to talking about what he believes in.
He's not one to want to take the ride.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah,
he is,
and I don't know. I can't.
He's you're in their face. He's a little bit more polite. I like a little bit of both of the styles. You definitely hold the entertainment value better for sure.
Okay, well that's good to know. But yeah, man, I don't know. My favorite my favorite person in this movement, the whole accountability, freedom, information about government is James Freeman. That's the guy that I watch.
He's out of Texas.
I think he's done a lot of stuff in Texas, but he's gone all over the country, man, just exposing some of the worst. You should check into what he's doing now. He's got some Mountaineer, New Mexico. And I mean,
I watch them all, brother. We got a little addiction going on here. We wake up and start watching these damn things. It's a little crazy. This is literally becoming an addiction.
First thing we do when we get up, is there a new one? Is there a new one?
I'm the same way though, man. I got a few guys that I watch in this movement, and it's just like, there's no end to it. You'd think that at one point these government workers would understand, like, well, people are getting pissed. No way. They don't care that we're getting pissed. You know, they don't care that they've got a job to do. Respect them or get the hammer. And so a lot of these guys continuously get the hammer, and it's kind of fun to watch. You know, I mean, like, a lot of the people that are experienced deal with it very well, but it's fun to see that, these idiots that work for our money, they never learn. They never get the memo. So, But guys, it was great talking to you. We're going to move on to Smoking Auditor. He's very common up here on this show. Thanks for joining, though.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you, man. We'll watch you again. We always watch you, man. You guys take care. Big love to all of you.
Right.
We appreciate you.
Thanks. All right, Smoking Auditor, what do you got for me today, man?
Okay. 2 things. First off, if it's anarchy,
what do you got for me
controlling, producing, and organizing the value of the money? Or are we just going back to straight gold?
Yeah, there's no other money that's as good as gold. That's the whole thing. Like all other money was made in place of gold because gold has been the money that's prevailed over the past 6,000 years. And every time we've tried a new form of money, it's failed. I mean, you look at the dollar; it was initially linked to gold, the paper dollar, that is. Before the dollar was simply a weight and measure of gold. But now we've got the dollar. We've had it for just over is 200 and I think 7 years, something like that. It was 209 now because it first $10 bill was made in 1913, but it's failed. Right, in 1913 the dollar, an ounce of gold was worth I think $20. Now it's worth over 2,000. I mean, we've lost 99% of its value plus. And the scary thing about paper money and percentages is it can drop another 99% from here. It can keep dropping in percentages. So
what about crypto, guys? Crypto?
Who said that?
That'd be your moderator, buddy.
Well, if paper is worthless, I don't think that a digital readout on a screen is worth anything more. It may actually be worth less because we could burn paper if we needed to keep ourselves warm. But I
just had to throw it out there for the viewers that I knew would be asking. Awesome. Thank you for joining in there, Smoking Otter. Nice to meet you. Triple FO.
What else do you have, man? Usually you've got a little something.
I got two more little points I want to make. I do want to say, Ryan, you're freaking a genius, dude. I like you a lot from what I've seen of you.
I appreciate it.
I've seen you in like 2 or 3 other lives, and you always are on point about stuff. But the other 2 points I want to make is, one, monopolies don't have to be signalized to one business. They can be signalized to one industry. Look at what happened to telephone companies and eventually cable companies. Cable companies came together like, well, we all share the same lines, but we'll charge people what we want to charge them anyways, as long as it's certain rates, and we just divvy out the areas.
Yeah, but I mean, look, the marketplace even sorts cable out, right? I don't even pay for cable. I don't know about everybody else in the stream, but I pay for streaming services.
Yeah. Once satellites became a thing, they are slowly replacing the analog cables, but they're still there for backup.
Yeah, but still, the market sorted it out. The government did not come up with the idea of streaming TV to TV, or streaming TV from satellites. Yeah. But even look at this, SpaceX now is making it more and more affordable for people to launch their own satellites if they want to get into any other game like that. So, things are solved by the market is what I think. Now, sure, people become dominant in the market, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're always going to be dominant. I mean, look at Standard Oil, right? Standard Oil had tons of market share. But by the time, 20 years before the government came and broke up Standard Oil, their market share was falling, right? They were losing market share. More companies were getting into the game, producing oil for at competitive prices. And, their clout was falling in the oil industry. And now look, Standard Oil has been broken up, but we've got tons of oil producers all over the world, right? I mean, who could have imagined that in the Middle East they would overtake what we do here in America as far as the oil industry goes? It's just the market has strange ways of operating. But I don't believe in monopoly. There's a great lecture out there. It's called it's by Professor Thomas Woods of the Mises Institute, and he let's see if I can't get the name of it. I believe it's taking a libertarian stride through American history or something like that.
And let's not forget, in this day and age, customer service goes a long way. So, you get these cable companies that start conglomerating, when they start getting a bad rap and they don't have the government to fall back on and prop them up and force us all to do what they say, the voices are heard a lot louder.
Yeah, I got a good one for you guys. Being that you pointed it out overseas, who protects the country in the event of anarchism? What happens to the military? Who protects us from China coming over and just taking over and making it their way.
My best answer to that, and maybe Brian or Ryan has a rebuttal to that as well, but my biggest answer to that is if the government didn't restrict my rights and they didn't steal all my money, I'd probably have a tank by the time I'm 25, 30. So I'd like to see China come and attack us when most of our citizenry is in possession of tanks and big, huge jet engines with missiles on the bottom of them and whatnot. I don't think they'd have too good of a time.
I think we've already answered that. I mean, we've seen it. You know, a bunch of us many years ago came here across the pond, and we did have threats come in from the coast, and we chose to band together and fight them off. You know, the best way we knew how. So I think the same thing would happen. You know, you don't need a government saying, okay, people, this is what we're going to sell you on, you know, this idea of, you know, doing this and give us your money and we'll take care of you. We would band together in our neighborhoods, and then neighborhoods would talk to other neighborhoods, and then it would become larger and larger. And our group would understand, hey, there's a bigger threat. We need more, you know.
But eventually, wouldn't you wind up getting leaders out of that, or, you know, a group together that would almost lead to a government in a different type of way, same kind of thing? Because and also another point is we're not back in the day when it was soldiers on foot. We're talking nuclear warheads, you know, airstrikes.
Oh yeah, people would have nukes. Don't worry about that. You know,
I think if we were unrestricted, we'd have all that. And leaders don't need to be government. Leaders can lead without violence. As soon as you know, if we all had our own free will, and someone was good at leading a group and organizing us, you know, we're going to give that person our allegiance basically until he turns around and screws us, you know, or she. So, you know, to say that they would kind of sneak a government in on us is, I don't know, I think that's a hard idea.
Well, wouldn't you say that's kind of how we got a government? I mean,
well, there was infighting even back then. I'm sure you guys know, you know, when the Federalist Papers went out, they were pointing guns at each other, and they had to go out and convince, you know, the general public and the farmers, like, this is what we got to do. And it took them years to get that done. It wasn't, you know, it wasn't real sneaky and quick.
Yeah, no doubt. Good points. I want to bring John Reese in here. John maybe has some good points to make. So John, how's it going, man?
Good, thanks, guys. Can you hear me okay?
Can hear you just fine.
Excellent. So I've been watching pretty much all your content over the years, the year that you put it out. And so having been a voluntarist, so I classify myself as a voluntarist, just because it's easier for statists to understand, because they tend to get scared by the word anarchy, because they think, you know, you're going to have all of these people running around killing each other and stuff, because that's what the mainstream media has kind of taught them. So I say to people, I'm a voluntarist. And watching your debate the other day, I saw you run into a lot of the problems that I had debating statists over the years, is that it ends up going down rabbit hole after rabbit hole after rabbit hole.
That's right.
And so one of the big things that kind of helped me with debating, right, was actually learning the Socratic method. And talking to, so I actually went to Mexico at Acapulco and did Candles in the Dark with Lark and Rose. And that was one of the best things ever for me, because it kind of taught me how to circumvent what happened in your debate, Craig, which was just rabbit holes after rabbit holes, and actually keep it on a consistent, straight path on how to get somebody to understand the basic premise of anarchy or voluntarism, which is nobody has a moral right to rule another human being.
Right. That's right. That's the point that Ryan made when he came on. He kind of cut to the chase there. So I agree. I need to work on it. Were you suggesting a book to me there, John?
So, yeah. So basically, Lark and Rose, I'm sure you guys know who Lark and Rose is.
I've heard of them.
Yeah, so Larkin is actually the man who made, ironically, he's the man who showed me anarchy, right? Showed me voluntarism. He has
his most famous book, the Most Dangerous Superstition.
Yes, that's correct. That's correct.
Yeah,
and with
I've seen it posted on James Freeman's channel when he was doing a lot of older videos. He would use examples from that book.
Yes, so I've been very fortunate to be able to be on Distance Full with James Freeman and Patrick Smith. I've been very lucky to be able to do some work with Lark and Rose over the years as well in the freedom movement, because I'm an Australian, and it feels like there's not very many of us actually flying the flag of freedom down under. And one of the biggest...
I think that's obvious, isn't it? The way that you guys have made global headlines, that a lot of the community is not on board with that.
Yeah, the last 2 years have been pretty statist, if I'm being honest with you. So yeah, basically the book Lark and Rose wrote, which is The Most Dangerous Superstition, kind of dispels completely the belief that a human can delegate a right they don't have, and completely eviscerates the basis of government, which is coercion. So that's a really, really good book. And yeah, for you, I think that just having the Socratic method there to fall back on, because I've actually gone out to do some interviews with politicians before elections. And so one of the things that I learned off reading like how to do the Socratic method was I actually go up to politicians and I film them and I say I'm a reporter. I run a freedom page in Australia, which is true. And I ask them, one very simple question is, do you and your party, right, believe in the initiation of violence against peaceful people?
Wow.
And that one question, every single politician I've ever interviewed has, of course, said no. Then the very next question I follow up with is, I have some weed in my pocket, just some marijuana. What do you advocate happen to me? What do you advocate happen to me? Be literal and specific.
Of course.
And of course, I've had every response from like stuttering, the politician running away, the politician literally leaving their entire campaign team behind, running to their car and literally driving off and leaving their campaign team there. I've even been assaulted by a politician for asking that question.
Yeah, but they don't initiate violence.
No, of course not. So I think that to wrap this up and stuff, because I know you have other people who want to have a chat. But yeah, a huge one for me, Larkin Rose's Candles in the Dark is actually an online course now, I think Larkin does. I'd love to see you join the Distance Full server on Discord too. That has some awesome freedom stuff in it. And one last thing, which I always like to point out before I go, is one of the most hilarious things is that they were calling you immature and a 5-year-old for advocating freedom in the debate a couple of days ago, and saying that like anarchy leads to government. It's like, so the very worst case scenario, the worst thing that can possibly happen in an anarchist society is government.
Is government. Yeah, no doubt, man. No doubt.
Said,
very good. Said. Yeah, John, I got one last question for you. This might but do you watch any football?
When you say football, do you mean?
I mean your kind of football, right? Soccer.
So we have a couple. We have AFL, Australian Football League, which is the one with the
right, yeah.
Like
I'm familiar with it. I was just wondering if you kind of support what Ange Postecoglou is doing over in Scotland right now.
What's he actually doing over there?
He's just beating my team in the league, is what he's doing.
All right.
Hey, John.
I say go Chivas. Go Chivas, Mexico.
All right, John. Hey, good talking to you, man.
I'm so confused because, like, where is your trifold? I mean, don't we need to have a trifold here?
My trifold?
Yeah, your $25 trifold. I mean, maybe.
Yeah. I don't. I mean, I think if I did have the trifold, I think I might make it a little bit less affordable, or I mean more affordable. Sorry, Carolina. We're having the dog really loud.
Okay, be quiet.
What?
I'm on.
Why are you yelling?
Here, what was
while we're waiting for that to get ready, just is anybody out there wanting to take on CH here at a head-to-head battle
Yeah,
on a debate?
No, because
we've got
I need
about
a
an hour
trifold.
left.
I need a trifold.
She needs a
I hear
trifold.
you,
And
Carolina.
I need my 360 camera so 2 people can
Yeah,
be
that's
watching
right.
me. Too.
Halo
And then
camera
my
and the trifold.
transparency and the trifold and my $60 shirt that says delete something. I don't know. I'm just so confused. I just don't know
$60?
what you mean. I don't know what you guys are talking about. Like, cause like.
I think that,
Carolina,
Carolina, I think that I'm going to come out with something even better. I saw it in the comments. Les Paul, he suggests the quad fold. It's going to be the best. All right, listen, it's going to be the best. I'm telling you, and I'm going to make it, so you can rest assured. It's going to be the best. Nobody makes quad folds better than me.
I
So
think quad folds really good. Like I can make quad folds.
That's a great idea.
You know, because
yeah, but
So then you're going to come out with the 720 camera then too, right?
Yeah, and you
yeah, that's right. Yeah,
watching you. Because if you don't have
720
people
camera.
watching you, if you don't have people watching you, then you don't know. You know, like they have to be watching you and send the drones, or the what are those things called? Those big things. But anyways, oh, it didn't work.
Carolina, that doll behind you is just creeping me out.
What? Dog? Oh,
The
you
doll.
mean McGruff? Oh, McGruff. Oh, that dog.
Other side.
Oh yeah, that
Other
dog.
side.
That doll was on actually Miracle on 36th Street, whatever. That was the doll that Natalie Wood was holding.
Hey, so guys, we're gonna talk to everybody in the chat. I see a lot of people.
I just wanted to make sure that you would get those trifolds in because you know those are important.
The quad folds. We're gonna get them, Carolina. Thank you so much for joining us.
So confused, you know.
Keep up the good work, girl.
Oh.
All right, guys.
I feel like I'm confused now.
She was trolling.
You don't watch
It was
enough
okay.
shows.
It was pretty funny.
I enjoyed
But
it.
guys, in the chat, we want to see if anybody does disagree. I see a lot of people in the chat calling us this and that name. So if anybody does actually have cojones to come and defend their views, then that would be great to see.
That's what we're looking for sure.
If not, we'll just chalk this one up to a victory, right? I mean, we win. So
hey, I would actually like to hear some non-supporters get on here and try and share their views and make their points. You know, that is kind of the goal here, is to hear both sides of the table and see if we can't get some constructivity on both ends. I can't really see the live chat right now. I'm trying to get it pulled up here.
CH, who would you like to debate?
Honestly,
if I have their number, I'll call them.
I mean, if look, the person that I'd really like to debate is Delete Laws.
Well, we all have his number.
Oh yeah, I got his. I'm blocked actually. I'm blocked. Yeah.
Put the number you have in chat. Put the number in private chat.
All right. Let's see. Well, damn. Give me 1 second, everybody.
All right.
I leave you to the other two in the chat.
While we're doing that, Ryan, we really do appreciate you coming on. I like the way that you had your style in that last in the last interview there. Did you have anything else you want to touch base on?
I can talk for hours. I mean, the biggest thing I would suggest, and I put it in the private chat, was the Jones Plantation is one of my favorite kind of introductory videos for people that are kind of confused on anarchy. Larkin is actually making a full-blown movie out of that now. And
wow.
If you can drop that link in the chat, CH, people can check that out. Is that the last
one that you sent before? Oh, hold on. I actually think.
Correct.
Yeah, no, I pulled it up. Okay, here we go.
That one really explains how government really just kind of has us in an open prison, making us feel like we're not slaves, but all these licensing and taxes and everything. We're in an
Daniel,
open prison.
We are, Ryan. Daniel, I wanted to say the debater does not have to be of the opposite views. You guys can come on and debate any nitpicky point that you want to point out that you don't agree with, and we can talk about how it works out in my system and why you think it wouldn't work out in anarchy and whatnot. So, or in a voluntarist society. So everybody can, everybody's welcome to debate. In a real debate, you start with the premise or argument side. You must prove your point with accepted facts. Well, John, we've got Filming 5.0 has got yeah, Felonfilming 5.0 has got a little bit of a structure set up for a debate. So if anybody does want to come up, it will be somewhat of a structured debate. So, and you are a member. So if you want to come up, I mean, you've got first choice. You know, you can come up and, you know, you can just tell us what we disagree about or what you disagree about, and we can go from there. You know, yeah.
You want Kate from Masshole? She's up. She's down for it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, let's have her on.
Okay.
I mean,
Hold on.
All right. Is this going to be for the debate? Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. All right.
Let's see.
All right. This will be fun.
Do you have the link there, Ryan? I think he's taking care of it on. Yeah, he's on mute. So we do have the StreamYard link in the chat. We're gonna have Kate from Masshole come up and see what she has to say. I'm not actually familiar with who Kate is, so
I have no idea.
Yeah,
wait. You didn't see her and Chili going at it in the streets of Boston on Memorial Day?
No, I saw that something was going on, but
this here recently,
man,
I've been gonna be awesome.
Yeah, that sounds great. So Kate from what did Chili want to sue her? Is that what was going on?
He said he was talking big. He was talking big, saying I'm gonna serve her paper. She sat on her front porch and to be clear, Kate knows I'm not a big fan of hers. You know, she's on the cop sucking side. So you know, but she went and confronted him, and he had nothing. He insulted her, he threatened her, he ran away from her, he shoved her, he pushed her. It got really ugly, and it made him look that much worse. It was pretty bad.
Yeah, well, that sounds great then. That sounds like, and if she is on the cop side, then I'm sure we'll have a lot to talk about. So thanks for setting that up. Is she actually in the chat now, or is she going to come up here in a few minutes?
She said, okay, let me think of a topic. So let me get her the link here.
Well, I've got topics here.
Oh, we've got some topics. All right. Well, let's let her see if she's got anything going on and see if you can come up with something on the fly. Because if she is a well-known person, then hopefully she's got some well-rounded views on her beliefs. So Kate was showing cleavage to Chili. Okay, good to know. Go Fies.
Should I give the rundown on how the structure of the debate will go while we're waiting?
Yeah. Give us a rundown. I'm gonna fill up on some coffee.
All right. Awesome. So basically, guys, when we start the debate here, I try to keep it as structured as a normal debate will go. I'll be the moderator, obviously. Each candidate, or we'll break it into 3 segments with 3 separate topics. I'll ask a question on to each candidate on their views. They'll each have about 2.5 to 5 minutes to give an answer uninterrupted from the other candidate. After that, the other candidate will have his or her turn to give their views. After that, it will go into an open discussion for the next 10-15 minutes on that one subject. That will be the time you guys will be able to make your premises and try and basically prove your facts. And after that, we'll move on to the next segment. I wanted to make it a little interesting and possibly have the public view after all this is said and done. I would like the public or anybody in the chat to we're going to cast a little vote to see who we feel like won the debate.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, no, that sounds good. So, and John makes a good point. You debate over a question with each side having a viewpoint. So I guess that would be the way to go about it. So we'll just have to come up with a question on the fly.
Well, for fair sake, the moderator usually comes up with. I have 3 questions already laid out here, which I have not shared with Craig. Obviously, we don't know who Kate is, so she won't. Hi, is this Kate?
Hi, Kate.
Yeah, so I just got this link and something about a debate, but I'm a little bit confused because usually I'd like to know the topic and be able to, like, generally, this is not really the format for a debate. It's like a conversation,
this makes it a
which I'm
lot
willing
better
to have.
because you don't know, you don't have any time to prep, so it'll be right
Well,
on the fly.
I feel like it's not really a debate at that point, though. It's more of just,
Well, okay, let's.
Well, then we're just going to beat up on Chili as a group. That's fine.
Yeah.
Come on, guys. Give me a chance here, guys. Give me a chance, Kate. I feel like it'll be a lot more debate oriented for you here in a moment. It's been open conversation.
I feel like probably not, though,
point.
because generally you'd pick a topic. I would pick either the affirmative or the negative. You would pick.
Well, I could throw out. I could put the topics out there pre-ahead of time if you would like.
So, well, let me preface this. Let me preface this with this. So I've talked to Kate before. Kate, this is more or less a talk on anarchy and why we don't need any government, we don't need any cops. And I thought, hey, Kate likes them, so she'll probably argue pretty well, in their defense.
Well, see, but not. I don't think that. I would take me actually some time to prepare an affirmative for the government, because I'm not 100% on board with all of that. So, if you're talking about just my personal opinion, I feel like that's probably not
what part
not
do you
always
think
going to
we
be
can't
much of
do
a
without?
debate.
What social programs or part of the government do you think that we can't do without?
Well, I like my government like I like my men, which is reduced to the most basic of functions. So,
like Chili?
Whoa.
Yeah. But I mean, I believe that we need a certain degree of like infrastructure and public safety and education. So I would say that that's probably pretty necessary. Maybe a sprinkling of some social service programs, just for equity's sake here, and like not much more else. So,
well, then let's start there. Kate, have you met Craig? This is my buddy Craig.
I have not. Hi, nice to meet you, Craig.
Likewise.
Right.
So Kate, so as far as Ryan, did you maybe have a question that you had thought of just in that time?
I would start with this. So you just kind of threw out a few of those programs, Kate. Do you think that those would not be filled by a privateer? And do you think that a private, company can't fulfill all the functions of the government?
No, I mean, look at how we privatized utilities. That worked out really fantastic for the general population, right? Oh, wait, it didn't.
I think she's on the transition. I think we got her on the edge of leaning towards anarchy here, but
I think so.
No.
When did we privatize all utilities?
Is that reference to Texas's grid going down?
Well, I mean, it's a reference to not only Texas's grid going down, but I mean, the free market does not regulate itself, correct? So, I mean, there's a certain amount of
it certainly does. All right, so that's okay. So let's how about this? How about this as a question, Kate? The free market is I don't know, conducive to a prosperous economy. And you can argue in the negative, and I'll argue in the affirmative. All right. You there?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Okay, so does that sound agreeable to you?
Yeah. Sorry, it didn't sound like you were at a full stop there.
Yeah, sorry.
You start.
Okay, so I think that the free market is conducive to a prosperous society. Kate says that she makes the point that utilities are not regulating themselves in the free market. It's because we don't have a free market in utilities. The government tells utility companies what they can charge. The government restricts utilities to, one in a certain area or maybe two in a certain area. So we don't have all the choices that we would have if the market was truly free and everybody was allowed to start a utility company at their own, at their own expense and their own, desires. But we don't have that right now. So, yeah, I agree. Government regulated utilities, which utilities are one of the most regulated, businesses in our corporatist society or our corporatist government right now. But we certainly, in the free market, utilities would work just fine, right? We were the first country to really have, power grids on full scale because we had a free market economy at the time in utilities. And then once they got regulated, they started becoming more expensive. They started being less efficient. Yeah, everything that you would expect from a government-regulated utility. So that's my argument. The free market is not in full force right now. It's not actually happening right now. Lou, we're going to add you to this stream, but right now we've got Kate on, and she's kind of debating. But
so that would be Kate for the rebuttal.
I'm sorry.
Your views on that? Your argument back to that?
Well, I mean, right. I mean, if a market is regulated, it's an economy, right? If it's not, then it's not technically an economy, right?
No. An economy is just a means in which people. I mean, it's literally just defining commerce. Commerce happens without regulation or without.
Do you feel we need regulation on utilities, Kate?
On utilities, no. I mean, what about if we go back to like antitrust laws? Do you not think that was something that was necessary?
But they didn't do any good.
Well, I mean, I certainly think that, is the answer to that more regulation, perhaps?
Well, antitrust laws, by definition, were laws that enabled the government to regulate. But
I'm saying that's regulation. So I'm saying, where I would say that probably the sort of digital sphere, right? These big tech companies I would consider to be monopolies at this point.
But why?
What's that?
Why are they monopolies?
Well, I mean, you've got the multi-million-dollar conglomerate Facebook that is really buying up the majority of the social market sphere, right? What's the answer to that other than more regulation?
Well, so what you're saying is that we need regulation to make sure that they don't gouge us when they get too big.
Right.
Okay. So is Facebook even? I mean, I've never paid a cent to use Facebook services.
Right. If a product is free, then you are the commodity.
Right.
Okay. So their customers are actually advertisers. But if you look at how much of the advertiser market that Facebook has, you'd find that it's probably less than 1/4. They don't have anywhere near a monopoly in the advertising market.
And they do very well to buy a lot of their competitors too.
Right.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah.
Right. And I mean, I guess if you were going with a completely sort of free market answer to that, we would just have more social media companies pop up, which has been attempted. I don't think it's been particularly successful. Would you say?
Yeah, sure it has. Snapchat's relatively new. So is that Chinese company. I believe
that Snapchat is actually owned by Facebook.
Yeah, now it is, but when they started, they weren't. And then you've got Twitter, you've got YouTube, you've got you've got a lot of social media companies. There's no monopoly in social media.
Well, who owns YouTube?
I don't use Facebook. Google.
Right.
So
you don't consider that to be another conglomerate?
So I think Kate's saying if we have government to keep those at bay, then they don't take over the whole world, right?
I don't feel, outside of just the, advertising market, if we're looking at financial, I don't feel particularly comfortable with one company exclusively brokering in something as sensitive as people's, daily lives and sensitive information. That seems to me to be kind of a large conflict of interest.
Nobody forces you to use Facebook.
Well, that's
a good point. I guess let's talk about something that's actually, life-threatening, like water. So can government regulate water?
I mean, they do, so they can. Should they?
Should they?
Probably not. Right.
Can you collect rainwater off your roof, legally in every state? No.
Not in my state.
It's insane.
Yeah, it is. It's insane. But as far as all this monopoly mumbo jumbo, I just one single example where a company has price gouged its customers. Just one.
Pharmaceuticals.
EpiPens.
Yeah, but they do that with the help of the government. The government makes patents, and then people can't produce those same products. So that is a government-enforced monopoly. But without government, anybody and their brother could make EpiPens. Anybody and their brother could make pharmaceuticals. But the government regulates it so heavily that nobody else can get into the market. So
or they make the barrier to entry very difficult. Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose that would be a balancing act too, though. Do we really want anybody making EpiPens?
Yeah, absolutely. If they're not a reputable source, then why would I buy from them?
From a public safety stance, I don't know.
If they're good,
Yeah,
I mean,
and surely
I
you
think
can
that would
decide if
be
they're good, right? I mean, if the EpiPen didn't work at first, then you can have your name brand EpiPen at the ready to regulate your insulin. But
well, I
there,
mean, in theory, yes, and in practice, I think that if I accidentally
practice is just
bought
the same.
a EpiPen full of Drano because it was cheap, that's just a way that the capitalist market kind of bears down on the poor.
How would they stay in business, though, Kate? You expect that the first customer buys an EpiPen full of Drano and dies, and everybody's just rushing? They're like, "Yeah, I heard it was really cheap, but it's got Drano in it.
Well, I
Screw
mean,
it. I want
I
the
was
good price."
speaking,
Of course, they're not going to do it.
pretty hyperbolically in that sense. Obviously not Drano, but I mean, people have been buying dollar store water bottles with BPA in it for years, right?
Guys, all right,
Yeah.
look. So, as most people that are familiar with my channel know, I'm an ex-weed dealer, right? The black market in Indiana is, by definition, an unregulated market. Now, what I would do is, full disclosure, I would drive to Colorado to dispensaries, get cheap weed at dispensaries. It was high grade, bring it back and sell it for $50 an eighth. Now, there are people that would sell weed that was CBD weed on the same marketplace, and they'd sell it for $5 a gram and sell it as loud. Those people went out of business in the first month that they tried it. Nobody wanted to buy CBD weed. They'd buy it one time. They'd say, yeah, it was cheap, but I'm not getting what I want. This is a bad product. I'm not buying it again. The market regulates itself just fine. Those people went out of business and I prospered. That's the way the free market works, and that's in practice, not in theory. I can attest to that personally. So all this nonsense of the free... Sorry?
That's a pretty kind of anecdotal, kind of small area, though, don't you think?
Well, no, it's happened all the time. It happens all the time. There's never been one time where, without government assistance, a company has been able to price gouge its customers. There's not been a single time in the history of the world where this has happened.
I mean, except for, like pharmaceuticals, for instance.
That we just established, they do it with the help of the government. The government grants these people rights through the utility of patents. And
she is right. I mean, they blame it on, it costs them a half a cent to make a pill. They charge you $6, and they say it's not the second pill that costs all the money. It's the first one, creating it, developing it, testing it. I understand their weak argument about it, but
without the government, though, who's going to patent the technology, right?
Well, that would be a good question. So without government, would we set up a private entity, I guess, to keep people from stealing our ideas?
They ain't gonna stop me, I'll tell you that much. I do not consent. That's right. The whole deal. Without the government, there's no mechanism to stop people, and it helps people. Look, the government assists one person by hurting everybody else. When they assist that one person in keeping everybody else from producing that same product, not only are they keeping people from getting their product cheaper, but they're keeping them from options that may be better for them, especially in the field of pharmaceuticals. So the government patenting technology isn't helping anybody but the single person who created the technology. Could you imagine if Edison was the only person able to sell light bulbs and anybody else who came up with light bulbs wasn't allowed to sell them? I mean, chances are most people wouldn't even have lights in their house right now. I mean, everybody's got to be allowed to create things and sell them for a profit. There can't be any regulation, because regulation just hurts the little guy. I mean,
what would you say about style pants and all that, like Oakley's, Swatch watches used to get copied pretty well from China. Do we protect those that come up with the initial idea and try to fend off the copycats from competition?
I don't see why we should. I mean, it's like people want watches that look good. If somebody can make a cheap watch that looks just as good as a Rolex, who am I?
And I mean, as far as, patents aside and monopolies aside, what about just a basic like macroeconomic intervention?
Give an example.
Yeah.
I mean, interventions that would, can I give a great example? Not one that people would, so 2008, when the market burst, right?
If we didn't have the government in 2008, our economy would probably have been recovered by now.
Hey, that's hypothetical, but I think at some point, just to protect the citizens, there needed to be some sort of intervention to overcome that recession, right? Or the Great Depression.
No. No,
I want
absolutely
to see it burn.
not.
I really want to see that burn. I want to see those banks go out of business. I want to see all those people have all their homes without any mortgage. Oh man, I thought that.
Yeah,
was
well,
so awesome.
let's look through history, right? There's a depression that nobody's heard about because it got solved very quickly. It lasted for about a year and a half. It was in 1920, right? In 1920, it's the depression of 1920. Nobody's ever heard about it. What the government did, we had I think it was Warren Harding in office at that point in time. We were going through a depression, and it was a result of money printing. The Fed was created in 1913. They created an artificial boom, which allowed people to allocate resources in ways that they shouldn't have been allocated. Nobody had a desire for them in the marketplace, and so it created this faulty boom, and then it bust in 1920. And Warren Harding did not, increase government spending to produce a stimulus to protect the little guy. He decreased government spending by 45%, and the economy recovered in a year and a half. You see, recessions are like a sickness, right? And the sickness is created by the Federal Reserve printing money. But you can't cure the sickness with more of what caused the disease in the first place. You've got to take away what's causing the disease. You've got to take away money printing. You can't give companies that are failing money so they can continue throwing money down the drain. That's just going to make, when the sickness happens again, when the symptoms come back, it's going to be that much worse next time. You see, recessions are like the medicine that the economy needs, and the booms are like the for lack of a better term, a boom is like the government shooting heroin into the economy. And then a bust is like the economy going through the withdrawal symptoms. Well, of course, an addict is going to get helped by shooting more heroin up, but it's not going to help the addict in the long run. What's going to help the addict is if you stop giving him the heroin completely, allow him to go through withdrawal symptoms. Sure, it hurts a little bit, but it's for the better in the long run. So that's
who is that hurting in the immediate though? I mean, these are actual human beings dependent.
Yeah, and it's my actual kids that have to live with the repercussions.
Well, and I think that's where, I think it's difficult to, for me anyway, without any preparation, to really debate an issue fully on the affirmative or the negative such as this, because do I believe that we need, totalitarian, absolutely, government coming in and regulating and micromanaging every part of the economy? No. Do I think that they need to worry about things about like I said, macroeconomic distribution, the law of diminishing returns, things like that actually affect people. And
can I ask you this, Kate? How do you feel about the government wanting to regulate gun rights and women having abortions?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Nice.
On either end.
But Kate, I want to get back to what you were talking about. I mean, you said that they were real people. Like I agree with you. They're real people. But this whole, this is a huge crisis that was created by government, and government provided the answer, right? The people were always saying, well, we can't let the auto workers lose their jobs. The auto workers weren't going to lose their jobs. Ford could be a profitable company, right? They would go out of business. Somebody would come in, buy the company, and they would restructure it in a profitable manner so that people could make money and the taxpayers didn't have to pay a dime. But instead, we did it the other way. The taxpayers paid a whole lot of money. Ford is still losing money. The taxpayers are still going to lose the next time they go down. And not only that, but the inflation created in 2008, this is the inflation we're seeing today. Everybody wants to blame Biden. No, his inflation is going to come here in the future. But right now, today, we're seeing the result of money printing that happened in 2000 to 2008, 2012. This stuff is coming back to bite us in the butt. Nothing's for free. You don't get to just print up money. There's a reason why counterfeiting is illegal, right? For everybody.
Well, I think that's abundantly obvious, as well as, I believe that Trump kind of prematurely ejaculated out a stimulus in a situation that did not, he has, I believe, tripled the deficit. Just about everyone who's in office. That goes beyond. Again, it's hard for me to really argue this without preparation, because I would have to actually prepare an argument. Whereas my own personal views are somewhat in the middle, I guess. I think that the biggest drag on society right now is government bloat. I'm not for the abolition of all taxation, but I think that it's not being spent wisely on what would actually benefit the American public.
Which ones do you agree with? Fair and just?
I mean, if you really want to, cut to my own personal view, but I think that, the number one thing that needs to be cut out immediately in terms of government regulation, as well as, tax money allocation, would be corporate bailouts, right? Corporate welfare.
I agree. Do you think any taxes are legitimate?
Mostly municipal.
To support. To support.
I know that when I am paying municipal taxes, to my town, even to my state to a certain point, it is going to affect me and my community directly. When we start getting up to federal taxes, that's where things get a little bit dicey for me.
Now, you do know that the cities receive federal income,
right?
When they do things that the federal government wants them to do, like.
I would rather than take that from me directly and keep it in my community than filter it through a large ambiguous mother government and have them start to dictate. Yeah.
And that's I agree with that to a certain extent, Kate, that if we could make government smaller, it would be beneficial. Now, I think if we could reduce it to zero, it would be even more beneficial. But I certainly think you're wanting to move in the direction that is correct. So, but that isn't a big problem with the paper money, right? Because if the states don't comply with the federal government, they don't get this paper money. It's not like they can just produce their own paper money. The Fed has a monopoly on that. So that's why we need to go back to if we are going to have a government, we need to go back to gold and silver for sure, because it keeps the government honest, right? They can't tax the citizens for more than we have, whereas when we have paper money, they tax us for much more than we have in the form of inflation. But
now, hold on, I'm going to press both of you. You're not getting off that easy. Both of you think that local taxes are legitimate in any way, shape, or form?
No. Nope. I'm saying that I think it would be preferable to the system that we have now, but I'm saying that it is not preferable to anarchy. Anarchy would be the only legitimate form of society.
So, Kate, what do you feel is legitimate? When the city gets money to pay for what?
Infrastructure.
You don't think someone would answer that need? The six of us in this room, we create a town and we all agree that we want a park for the kids. Do we need to find a government somewhere to build it for us, or do we say, hey, let's pitch in? Or CH says, hey, I got 10 grand, I can build it. Can you guys pay me back over time?
I think that you're really giving people a lot of credit to assume that they would have the means to be able to all contribute to that voluntarily.
No, right? That's what I'm saying. We don't all have to.
CH always makes a good point on this, is if the government wasn't taking all of our money, we would have the funds to
I don't know. I think honestly, even if I had I believe approximately 30 to 35% of the government is taking out of my income, that I still would have a difficult time prioritizing something like a public park. It's a lot more manageable for me if it's a few bucks in my paycheck coming out every week, and a few bucks on my purchases, and I don't pay property tax because I'm a renter, but I'm assuming that that's probably rolled into my rent.
Okay, so if I can get this straight, so you think it is beneficial to be forced to pay for it as opposed to voluntarily paying for it?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. All right.
But if you said, I got kids, I want to go to a park, I don't want to go 30 miles away, it'd be nice if we had a park here, and CH goes door to door and says, hey, I'm trying to build a park, I'm going to pay for the thing. All you guys got to do is pay $1, when you come, just so I can recoup the money over time and keep up the maintenance. Wouldn't you prefer that over someone coming to the door from the government and saying, I need 30% of your pay because we're going to build this thing that you may or may not use, but I still need you to pay for it?
But not even ask, actually. They just do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Ask you with a gun.
Yeah.
I don't ever felt like I've been put at gunpoint to pay my taxes, to be completely honest.
That's because you've never not paid them, probably.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's not true. That is inaccurate. That is inaccurate. Please do not underestimate what a scumbag I truly am.
But you've gotten used to paying these things. You've gotten used to that money not being yours when technically it is, and it's being stolen.
Well, I mean, it provides for things that, otherwise I don't know that, in a completely free market that I could necessarily, private school for my children.
Well, no, give me an example, because, when a bunch of people in that town need a teacher for their kids, that, someone will rise up and they will say, hey, I can offer that service. You guys all pitch in and pay me. I that's my belief, at least.
I would disagree. Disagree.
Kate, can I ask you a question? you had a run-in with Chili, yes?
I did.
What? I never heard about this. What happened?
Yeah.
How do you feel about citizens filming in public, from public areas, government officials in their capacity?
I think it's
Official
entirely
capacity.
necessary. Actually, I've said this numerous times. I don't know. I think that is necessary. I think that the verbal confrontation, the purposeful escalation in a degrading and derogatory manner to another human being who is essentially a stranger to you is the part that's inappropriate. I think that the filming of private businesses and homes to just with the sort of expressed intent to incite people who have no idea what the fuck is going on is not so necessary.
But to be clear, in public accessible areas, say you're at the post office in line, are you going to have an issue with the guy behind you filming in the lobby?
I mean, am I going to have an issue enough to demand that he stops? No, it depends. I mean, how am I looking that day?
Okay.
No, I'm serious though. What kind of mental state am I in that day? Am I hiding from someone? Am I hiding from something? Do I have
the beauty of the beauty of private post offices would be if the customers. I mean, look, a lot of these auditors go into post offices in towns that they don't even live in. Right, if they're not a customer of the post office,
I don't want to get into the Poster 7 debate here.
Well, look, if they're not a customer of a private post office, the private post office would be obligated to kick the recording party out. So that's a benefit of having private everything.
The post office is actually private; it's just publicly funded. So I mean, they can kick you out.
It is not private.
They do rent private buildings. You're right. They do rent private space.
Right, but they're a public entity. They are not a private entity that's funded.
Right, but it is very well established that you can film with the postmaster's permission, and that he does reserve the right to kick you the fuck out.
But I will pick up that point. I will agree with Kate that you can't just if it's private. It would be hard pressed to think that we would have more than one post office in a town where you could just go to that one instead. That would be an interesting one.
Yeah, and I mean
we do. We've got in Terre Haute. We've got 3 post offices. We've got the government one. We've got 2 private ones, and the 2 private ones have buildings that are on the north, south, west side of towns. So,
are you talking about UPS or FedEx or something? Or
and they would both do mail if they would both do mail if they were allowed to. But if they do it, they get charged federally and fined federally.
Right.
So
they have to call everything they ship packages. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Okay, Kate, how would you feel about say you're being pulled over by an officer and somebody's filming from 20 feet away the interaction? Do you feel like that would be an invasion of your privacy almost?
20 feet away? Are they
well, within reason? There is no laws technically stating that we have to stand a certain distance away. Now, if I mean, say they're 5 feet away, would you still have an issue with that?
I think I want to make a distinction here. Are you just filming me, or are you broadcasting me on YouTube?
Good point.
I am filming, not you. I am filming the officers that have you pulled over in their official capacity for your protection.
I'm assuming that I'm going to be part of
and for transparency.
Are you using your likeness on the internet though?
I'm not speaking to your intent at all here. I'm simply asking: are you just filming me, or are you broadcasting me on YouTube?
I would. CH, what you got some input on that?
Well, I mean, I may not be broadcasting it, but I might certainly be uploading it later.
Okay, so you're broadcasting. Okay, so are you financially benefiting from this?
More than likely.
No. Let's say no. Yeah, let's say no.
All right. So, I mean, right off the bat, I don't have to be concerned about my likeness being exploited, which I do appreciate, because I do not want the government to exploit my labors, nor do I want you to exploit my traffic stop necessarily. As far as you filming, if it doesn't have to be 20 feet away, but you're a reasonable, distance away and you're not interfering with my traffic stop, I'm all right with it.
I like how you said interfering. Now, what is your definition of interfering?
Kate, I'd just like to ask you, so you said that you don't want the government exploiting you. but you say you would love to be forced to pay for a park by the government, right?
No, I would agree to pay for a park.
Yeah, but you don't want them exploiting you, though.
No. Well,
okay.
I mean,
all right. Okay. It makes a difference if the person is making money or not. I don't. What's the difference?
Because she wants a cut.
No,
you'd like a cut.
No, it's not so much that I want to cut or I don't want to cut. It's just that I don't think that you, as someone that I've never met before, has the right to necessarily, financially benefit from my experience, my likeness, and my traffic stop.
Well, let's
it's my
let's
road.
keep in mind you are in public. Yes,
I am
it's
in
a public setting.
Right.
Now,
I'm not disputing the legality of it. That's just how I would feel about it.
Okay, so what if you were on my property?
You could tell me to get the fuck off
the road.
Yeah,
no, but if I owned the road and I'm allowing you to use the road, could I exploit your likeness on my road?
If you have a contract.
I would prefer that you not, but I mean.
Okay. So so I helped pay for the roads, though. I was helping pay for them before I even had my license, to be honest with you. But I'm saying, if it's a public road, why should you be able to restrict my rights on a piece of property that I helped pay for?
You have the right to financially benefit from my likeness?
Well, yeah, it's not hurting you any. So.
No, I just want to be. You have the right, though.
Yeah,
on his private property.
I'm not stealing from you. I'm not hurting you. If I use your likeness, you still have it. I'm not stealing it. So, I mean, totally I have the right. I'm not hurting you. I'm not stealing from you. I'm not vandalizing any of your property. Of course I've got the right. Why wouldn't I? You're in public.
What if my likeness ends up being, really valuable and I'd like to keep that for myself?
Don't show your face in public, because if you have paparazzi coming after you, they are going to show your face. I promise you.
What if you wind up getting George Floyded and you didn't have anybody videotaping it?
Well, that's why I think it's appropriate and necessary, even.
And it still didn't even help him, did it? I mean, let's be honest.
Do you feel like when that there's proper checks and balances in place for police as we have it today? As far as if you need to make a complaint on an officer, do you feel the checks and balances are properly instilled into the government?
You're not gonna like my answer. You're not gonna like my answer because
That's what I'm here for.
I'm gonna say no, because I'm gonna say that it requires more oversight, and oversight is by definition regulation, right? But I believe that an agency cannot oversee and police itself, and that's what's happening right now as far as police departments go, and child protective services as well. If you're going to an ombudsman department, which is what we have in Massachusetts here, you are essentially complaining about an agency to the agency, right? There's no oversight there.
Yeah, it's like grading your own report card.
Right.
Now, follow-up question on that: How do we? And this goes for everybody on the panel. Does anybody have any ideas on how we could change that, and what would be in place of internal affairs, if you will?
Yeah,
what
I have ideas, but I'll go last.
Okay.
I think it would have to be an independent review board, and I honestly think that the independent review board would have to be somewhat connected to the government. I think it should be very poorly funded. That's just how I feel about that.
Yeah. Thank you for that answer, Kate. My answer is abolish government. People will regulate themselves.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, how'd that work out for the autonomous zone?
They weren't autonomous. They had police trying to break into their country the whole time. It wasn't.
And they had a gang leader running around, kind of trying to run the place.
Right. I mean, that's like. I mean, I feel like to a certain extent, human beings will try to rule or regulate themselves. I think that there needs to be some sort of overseeing body. That's why I can't go 100% anarchy. I mean, talk to me more. I mean, I am pretty malleable in my opinions as I learn things, but I don't see myself ever veering over to entire anarchy. But again, because I'm more moderate.
As long as you keep an open mind. But my problem with the whole independent government review board, is, you know, even if they find a flaw with what the government's doing, who are they going to employ to do something about it? Who are they going to ask to do something about it?
I mean, I would suppose assemble, you know, an independent review. Where are you saying, like, where would they pull this from as far as like a department?
No, like I get it. The independent review board is you know, in this kind of thing that we're jumping into here, the independent review board is a thing. It is an existing entity, and it's, you know, they find a problem with what's going on in the government. You know, they find that the government is doing bad things. Who do they ask to go in there and change it? Who do they ask to go in there and take care of what the government's doing that's bad?
I see what corner you're painting me in here. I do see that. But I mean, I guess I would consider it akin to like jury selection,
right? I couldn't hear you that very well.
I said I would envision it to be something akin to jury selection.
Jury selection?
Well, yeah. I mean, I see what you're talking about. I mean, it's kind of like that. But the whole idea is like jury selections generally don't work, and neither would a self-regulating government. They never work, right? Neither of them.
Well, Ryan, you said you had some thoughts on how to change it?
So to be clear, we're talking about the police state?
Yeah. Like how do we replace internal affairs? Kate suggested the review board. I suggested anarchy, and so you're going to go.
Yeah.
After you will let smoking auditor get. Yeah, smoking auditor, go ahead. Ryan said he was going to go last, so.
Yeah. This is just kind of my thought on it. Chili does have a good point. It'd be nice to have cameras that are on 24/7 on cops. But my thought is yeah. Instead of them going to two separate departments or government entities, which once those two entities meet up, they will find a way to corrupt the system. You just automatically have that loaded up to YouTube or straight to a television somewhere where the public can view it, for one. Even if it's a 2 or 3 minute delay, and you do not allow them to find a way to go, okay, well, the public's listening to us, let's encode it. No, you need transparency. Most of the time, cops don't do anything. I think in the last 50 years, they've solved 2% of actual true major crime, i.e. someone killing someone or something a little worse where someone's still alive afterwards, but I don't even want to talk about. It's one thing when you're having fun inside your own private bedroom. It's another thing when you're forcing it on someone. I'm sorry, that's just wrong in so many ways.
So it would be basically 24-hour public accessible. You can hop on and look at any time at what any officer is doing in their official capacity. Yep. Is that kind of your system? Okay.
That would solve a vast majority of the problem. Even
but
if
it would create its own
problems.
Like people would be so poor from paying for all these the data storage, these new cameras, these fancy round the head cameras. I mean, there's a lot of problems with that. If you had private police that were incentivized to work for the public, that would certainly be a different story, and it wouldn't cost very much either compared to that. But I do respect the view, which is why I want the man himself to come on a debate. But I don't ever foresee it happening. Lou, do you have a solution here? I can't hear you very well, man.
Tell me what I can do. Can you hear me now?
There you go.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I'm a borderline boomer, so I don't even know how exactly I got on. I just pushed a lot of buttons and somehow I got on here. But
sometimes it works like that, man.
That's how it works for me.
I figured it out. Anyways, I'm here. I don't know if I can get back here again one day, but I'll try again. I'll say right off the bat, to be honest, I am completely against having government. Let's be real. Nothing good can be made better by a bureaucracy, in my opinion. But I would say if I were to be devil's advocate, I would consider the possibility that if we did eliminate government, the way we would eliminate government would be really important, because say, for example, if we have a revolution and then there's no government, it's all gone. I think that would be a really bloody situation, because then there would be a whole lot of people trying to take that power. So my concern is, how do we transition out of this position where we are now, that we have these evil people called police that are basically just running roughshod over the people every day. I mean, they don't follow the laws they convict us for. I mean, how do we get through that point? How do we, I mean, definitely getting rid of qualified immunity, I think, is definitely one big step towards that.
I can vouch on that. Out here in Colorado, the police have no qualified immunity anymore, and I definitely can say I see a difference. But at the same time, there are some of them that just they're blinded with tyranny, and it doesn't seem to matter to them whether they have their qualified immunity.
And Lou, you make a lot of good points, man. I say let's just let them fall through their own lack of economic, sanity. Let's just let them keep spinning themselves into oblivion. But I say let's hear Ryan's perspective on this. How do we solve the self-regulating government? Is it going to happen? What's the solution? What are your thoughts, Ryan?
Kate, did you want to finish the thought real quick, or?
No. I was overstepping. I apologize.
Oh, okay.
I'll say something real quick.
Okay.
One thing that we absolutely need to start making sure police do is live where they police. If they are forced to live in their own community, their community will police the police too. And that would help a lot with just police oversight, at least.
Okay.
I agree.
Yeah.
Good point.
So in my perfect utopia, obviously, the 99% of laws on the books would not be there anymore. You wouldn't get pulled over for rolling through a stop sign. You wouldn't get pulled over for no blinker if there was no one that you hit by not using your blinker. All that stuff would be, out the door. So moving violations would be a thing of the past.
You mean your travel would go unimpeded?
No, well, it might not go unimpeded if you were damaging other people or running people over. Then we would, but it would be an incentive base in my world. It would be, the good cops would rise to the top. The bad ones would very quickly be, consumer reported out of their jobs, basically. So you wouldn't have them running around and being covered by the thin blue line. You wouldn't have other gang members, protecting them and lying for them. You would have good or better cops calling them out and getting them out quick and cutting out the cancer, and not incentivized to, sweep stuff under the rug. As far as policing their own, no, they wouldn't police themselves. They would literally be, because you can't even get a jury. I forgot who said the jury. You can corrupt a jury. So that wouldn't even work.
Yeah.
You can get other people to lie, if you throw enough money at them and say, he didn't do anything wrong in your eyes, did he? Oh, no, all of a sudden I didn't see nothing, So,
but I mean, that kind of cuts into the argument of a private police force, even, right? Is the lack of oversight and that for, the financial interest. And, I'm hearing like, well, how do we transition to this? It might be like, I just want to point out that nature detests a vacuum, right? And that's what anarchy does create, is a power vacuum. That's why, like, you don't have a long-standing track record of any completely voluntary societies. It's sort of what is being described through the most idealized version of anarchy, is because that creates a power vacuum, and without any sort of oversight or regulation whatsoever, some sort of inherent social contract, not to sound like chilly, but the ends can end up a lot more totalitarian than what we first anticipated.
Well, there are some out there still. In the Amazon, they still have tribes that do not have any government, and they seem to function pretty well.
How large?
Now, let me throw this out there, you guys. We have technology that's through beyond what it has ever been when police were created and are today. What do you guys think about artificial intelligence or some sort of AI that kind of partners along with the cop or makes the decisions after hearing the whole situation, and then the cop can refer to that artificial intelligence robot, however it would go down, on making that decision. That way, no feelings would be involved.
That
sounds insane. Just saying.
It sounds insane, but
yeah. It's not that it sounds insane.
What we're in right now is insane.
I mean, that's a double-edged sword, though. I mean, I think that government at its absolute worst behaves like a machine, right? And the cogs turn, and there's no discretion, and there's no empathy or human decency involved in it, and it will crush the most vulnerable of people.
Right? I think they have a lot of emotion in their decisions.
But I'm not saying that is that. Like, I don't exist in absolutes. I don't. But I mean, an AI is never going to see. And of course, these are laws that you wouldn't agree with anyway. But just to use a practical example that is relevant to the way the system is now, an AI would not have a single mother driving home with her insurance in a state where it is compulsory.
Oh, did we lose her?
I think we lost her.
I mean, hey, to be fair to her, I'm not sure that she's ever been ganged up on in this capacity before. I mean, we have got, I think the only one on here that isn't an anarchist is probably Smoking Auditor. I don't know about you, Chuck.
I was going to say, to be honest with you, I've really never thought of anarchy. And one of my best friends growing up through high school, true anarchist since the day I can remember. And I never talked to him about it, never cared. I always thought it was like a punk rock thing. I just didn't care. And lately, since I've been watching this stuff, I'm like, free markets would be a lot nicer. And I think it was Lou Bastone who said, how would we transition from what we are now to anarchy and not have it go completely crazy? And I was thinking, well, everybody seems to respond to money pretty well. Yep. And so all this government infrastructure that we've got now, you just take that, and whoever wants to buy it up, because it's going to be a free market, you got to show up on the day. So if that government building, for example, is going up for sale April 12th, you show up April 12th. Papa Chuck showed up, put in his ballot, and it's counted right there for people to see. You know what I mean? Right then and there, do it and get it done. And then when they have to pay, someone has to pay all that money. Well, you don't have a government, so who do you pay it to? You pay that money back to the people of that state that all that is in. And then all that does
even be. I wouldn't even care if it's the current politicians that take
but
money.
Is Papa Frank going to buy that building? No. We are reinforcing inherent injustice and inequality within the existing system. Papa Frank isn't buying that building. Jeff Bezos might.
All right, hey, can we get just? I've got a question for. Geez, I forget her. Kate. I got a question for Kate. So, Kate, you've got the whole. You said the word equity, and now you're talking about inequality. So I want to know: is equality starting at the same place or finishing at the same place?
I believe that it's relatively starting at the same place, not finishing at the same place. And I believe that it is. I mean, we're sold this terrible fucking lie that the American dream is if you just work really hard, then you can be successful. And the way that this country is set up right now, that is just simply not true. Talent is distributed equally here. Aptitude is distributed equally. Opportunities are not.
Yeah, we guarantee outcomes these days instead of opportunities.
Did you say talent is distributed equally?
Right. I meant it across socioeconomic demographics, right?
Okay, well, look, I mean, socioeconomically, like, look, basketball players make millions, right? I'm 5'11", not very athletic when it comes to throwing balls and hoops. But, say my talent wasn't distributed as evenly as Kobe Bryant's, but I think the guy has more of a natural talent to play basketball than I do. Talent is not distributed equally.
I don't mean distributed equally amongst individuals. I mean that there is talent in the top 1% economically of this country, and there is talent on the lowest end of the poverty line, right? But you are already at a major disadvantage. There could be somebody more talented than well below the poverty line, right? Who is not going to have the same sort of opportunity. That's just how that works.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I mean, if you start at the same place and it's a free market and the government doesn't restrict entry place into the marketplace, I don't see why anybody wouldn't have the same opportunity.
Abolish the government tomorrow. Are we all starting at the same place?
Yeah.
We're all starting. Yeah, I mean,
we're
starting
not.
with the opportunity to make a better life for ourselves, unimpeded by people that we pay for.
Right, but again, the dollar is still king. I am not going. If the government,
the dollar is not still king. The government. Look, if the government stopped existing tomorrow, gold and silver would be king. Nobody wants nobody chose the market in a free, or nobody chose the dollar in a free marketplace. The dollar was forced upon us by government. That's all there is to it.
No, but it's still so we go to gold and silver, right? Like how do you acquire gold and silver?
You produce goods or services and trade them to other people for the produce.
You're talking about
labor.
A very small percentage of the population that has surplus of currency, which still equates to being able. I mean, you still have opportunities above other people.
We lose the government tomorrow. If we lose the government tomorrow and somebody's got $1 billion in cash stashed in their house, that person's broke. And
no, they're not. They're just going to go outside the fucking country. No, they're not. No, they're not.
Nobody would accept it.
Still exists.
The only reason anybody uses the dollar is because we're forced to pay taxes in the dollar, and if we try to buy something with gold, we're forced to pay a capital gains tax on the goods that we buy with it. So, no, the dollar is not king. The dollar is not, nobody that has cash wealth is going to be very wealthy when they've got no government forcing them to transact in the dollar. The only wealth will be production. Right, you can be wealthy if you can produce. You can be wealthy if you can sell something to somebody voluntarily. But gold and silver are great mediums to transact in. That's what we've proven over the last 6,000 years of money. But Kate, I think that you're a smart girl. I think that you make a lot of good points. I think that we disagree about a lot of stuff. And it was great. It was great having you on here, guys. Everybody else, thanks for joining. I promised my girlfriend I'd wrap this up after 2 hours, so we're getting close to that. So, I mean,
let me give you my cell phone number in your private chat. We can discuss further if you'd so like. So,
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you, Kate. I couldn't hear you over the whipping sound. What was that?
The whipping sound.
Kate's going to be on my side here, right? You should respect your girlfriend, right, Kate?
No, I mean, if you have made such an agreement, absolutely. Does it operate the same in my household? Sometimes I run over the clock.
Unless she asks you to choke her.
Can I just say one thing before we go, if you don't mind?
Nope. All right, bye.
I just want to throw in. I just want to throw in a little juggernaut before everybody goes so that they can think about it a little bit.
That's Chili's new nickname.
We've been taught, yeah, he is a juggernaut, I think. Yeah. But what I would say to think about is we've been talking a lot of, or I've been listening, talking. I haven't said much, but there's a lot of talk about the government and if the government falls and all of this stuff. This is sort of making an assumption that the government is actually in control. I personally don't believe the government is in control. I believe they're just our puppets that we're given to believe that we have some sort of ability to decide who controls us, but none of them are in control. Let's be real. The only people in control are the banks.
That's how it's supposed to be, is the government's not supposed to be in control. But honestly, do you feel like you are 100% free citizen that you can do?
No. I'm in Canada. I can't even travel in my
own country. I can tell by his accent.
Get him out of here.
I can't even.
All right, get out of here. No,
I can't even travel in my own country. I can't
Look
fly.
at all you top haters.
I can't fly because I don't have a product.
Hold on, guys. Hold on. Hey, we got. Who's this guy in the? Who's this guy?
Hello, my name. I am a law enforcement officer. My YouTube handle is Officer Blue Balls. Listen, y'all are hating the police, but the police are going to save your life. You should go back to Canada. That Trudeau is a pretty decent type of a guy. I think all you guys, all you rules, we protect your rights is what we do. So y'all better fall back and relax before you get tased in the ball sack.
I'll
You're
tell
so
you, if you don't know
brave.
who you
So
are.
brave.
Listen, we usually don't have cops on this live stream. So because this has happened, I'm actually, we're reaching the 2-hour mark, guys. This is all the encouragement I needed to shut this stream right down.
Yeah, well, you know what? Why don't you?
Wait a minute. I know this is
Fuck you.
facetious, but you've never had a police officer on your stream?
Oh no, and we won't allow it either. This guy's obviously
Is that
obviously a back the blue to the hilt. We don't do that.
Is that
Simply speaking to someone doesn't necessarily offer an endorsement. I am one of the internet's most notorious bootlickers. Ask anyone who audits, right?
That's true. She just licked my whole boot. She just stuck my boot down to the kneecap. It was wonderful. Thank you, Kate.
Is that true?
That's my best friend right there. I can tell. You think you're hiding your voice this time, but you're not. This is my best friend actually right here. My best friend in the world. But no, I mean, you should always. For as much as we want to discuss, the dangers of government, you should be much more worried about big tech because, if you want to talk about freedoms, your free thought is being impeded on a daily basis in the most insidious way. And you should
want to talk about the police
always
and how dangerous our job is.
Hey
You
guys,
should
I
always
want to take a moment.
I said that let's talk about this later.
Let me take a moment to. I want to thank everybody that joined in. Craig, 100% thanks to you. I appreciate your courage. You always come up here. You drop the knowledge. I would like to do this again, you guys. Maybe next time we'll stick to my format plan a little bit more, but.
Give you guys 45 minutes to prepare for a debate.
Hey, you had a day warning, or no? Just what? If you guys did like what we did here, and you want to see more of it,
I don't want to see it ever again. Never again. I don't want to see any of this. All you retards with your cameras running around, name and badge number, name and badge number. I got a fucking
shout out
badge
to
number.
Accountability for All. That's my best friend right there. Accountability for All.
Real quick. I have 0 subscribers. I've never done this before. I told Craig I wasn't coming to look for subscribers. If you guys like the content, you like the education from here, leave us comments in the description, letting us know what you think. If you guys want to come see me on my way, I'll try and collab again with Craig, and we'll get this going again if you guys really enjoyed it.
Hey there, Craig. Hey there, Craig. I'm not here for subscribers, but if you want to stop by my channel, it's auditorssuckdick.com. You can be sure to swing by.
That is my best friend, Accountability for All.
I get it, officer. You just want to come and insult them damn freedom people, but I just want to thank everybody. Found Filming 5-0, Ryan Youngblood, Smoking Auditor, Lou Bestone, Papa Chuck, John Reese, What Is This? And shout out to my buddy AFA, because I don't actually talk to pigs.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing, Craig. That queer AFA is a menace to South Central and more. You better make sure you
Oh, I know it. All right, guys. Hey, it was great having you all on. Thanks to everybody in the chat who joined us.
Officer, try not to kidnap anyone. Try not to kill anyone today.
Auditor, peace out, bro.
Yeah, later, everybody.
Peace out, everyone.